Good evening and welcome to the Monday, April 19th Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and confirmation of a quorum here with our members, and the proper notice of the meeting has been publicly posted. I'll introduce our members. To my right is our Vice President, Jennifer Miller. To her right is the school representative, Dr. Terry Reed. To my left is member Gordon Rundle. To his left is Secretary Rhonda Schwartz. In the audience this evening is the Executive Assistant, Tim Ramian. Also joining us tonight is Gary Rakes, member of the Town Council. Appreciate you being here, Gary. And our Economic Director, Tim Gropp, is as well in the audience. Was there any public comment that was submitted? And unfortunately, we don't have anyone from the public here to enjoy our nice new space. So we will be moving on past the public comment. Consent of the executive and regular session meeting minutes for March 15th of 2021. Those have been previously distributed. Did anyone have any additions, changes, corrections? Hearing none, we'll approve those minutes with consent. Approval of claims. Mr. Gropp, would you like to proceed with the claims report?
Yes. You have the claims were part of your packet. As you'll see, the budget versus the actual were in line with everything other than utility costs, which I think we explained at the last meeting. We'll just adjust that in the next budget cycle. As far as on tonight's claims, one I'd like to point out was the Drury Simmons Vorum. We took that out of operating at this time. It's our intent that that either gets reimbursed out of the bond proceeds for the Wilshaw project, or we shift that over to a TIF expense as it's project related. So that's a fairly large number. We just want to be clarified on that. And we did have an October lease payment we had to reissue. We had the previous owner of a property we purchased that we were leasing for a year during the transition, and they had lost something, so we took care of that as well. I think, the last Veritas group, I sent you a note regarding the 1426 Main Street parking lot, was inadvertently taken out of SRC legal fees. That'll actually, that's a TIF related expense, and we will change that. We just weren't able to update that prior to the meeting. Everything else is pretty standard.
Does anyone have any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims as submitted.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the claims as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the claims, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. Motion passes 4-0. And on to the director's report.
Ready.
Let's hear it.
There is a lot going on. It's a mix of anticipation of May happening and the race happening, people wanting to be in and around the racing community. So we're busy with events and vendors. We'll deal with that a little bit down the agenda. Around town, we're continuing to finishing up some things around the town hall here, and that'll be ongoing. But out at Founders Square, so Aldi's is moving right along. Crew, you might have noticed, has their erosion barrier up, and we have our pre-con with them on Thursday, so that project will be kicking off really soon. We also met on site with IPL today, or AES Indiana, and they're actually going to be burying some additional lines out there, so we're excited about that. They're going to run power through the entire development all in one swoop, and then we had to move some poles off a crew, which is why we're actually meeting with them, and they've decided to actually bury across Crawfordsville Road now. So that'll be a really nice improvement and kind of a surprise to us as well. So we're excited about that. Still some logistics and details that are getting worked out on that. So, but that should happen in the next couple months. We had a meeting last week on 10th and Cossel improvements, doing some intersection improvements there, as well as coordinating with projects that that Allison Transmission is also working on. So that project that was previously authorized by the SRC is moving forward. I'll have some additional details on that in the coming months as that gets moving along. Timing-wise is probably still going to be later in the year, just to fit into IPL's schedule to be able to bury lines on 10th Street. So we'll circle back on that one. 1300 block, we have some agenda items regarding the bond tonight, but we are on the back side of that. We are starting to see some plans come in and doing some of the review. So I know the developer is anxious to get started, and we'll keep moving on that project. And then we also are kicking off, there's some activity, OMR's expansion is getting ready to kick off as well. So a lot of construction happening around town. It's going to be a very active summer for us. We also went to the BZA 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, Brody, for attending that on the SRC's behalf. We received approvals of the variances needed for both the overflow lot on 16th Street as well as the upgrade and improvements to the 1426 Main Street lot. So we are at a spot where we'll also on new business will be looking at moving those projects forward as well in this summer. And then the last one is the Wilshaw. So they continue to move down a path as far as obtaining additional funding. We have a red line of an economic development agreement amendment that will be hashed out here hopefully in the next week or so. And it's potential that the EDC and the SRC might have to have a special meeting to consider that economic development agreement amendment. We just couldn't get it done for this evening, but we plan on having that before you sooner than later. We want to have that in place, assuming that things keep progressing forward, which it looks like they are. We'll hopefully have a firmer timeline for you and the town council here in the next week or two once we hear yay or nay on this financing option. So we'll keep you posted and provide additional details as we have them. We're hoping to have a firm timeline put together sooner than later so we can share that with the public as well. One last note, we have been in conversation with Mr. Loftus regarding cleaning up the site for May, which I think is very important. So he has indicated that he's working on that and will be helping clean up that site, weeds and stacking material and everything else. So we'll get some additional details and let you know what they're going to do, but we do anticipate some work on there to make that presentable as we get back into the racing season.
Thank you, Tim. Does anyone have any additional questions with regards to the director's report? All right. Appreciate that update, Tim. And moving along to new business, we've got several items of new business today. We're going to open up new business with a public hearing that will be started at 6:11 p.m. And being as there's no public currently here, we will also close the public hearing. And Tim is going to have Annalise Williams from Barnes and Thornburg assist with our next item of new business, which is Resolution 2021-04, resolution of the Town of Speedway Redevelopment Commission confirming a resolution approving a supplement to the redevelopment plan for the Consolidated Redevelopment Area No. 1. All the words.
I do have Annalise on the phone. She's not unable to be with us this evening. However, I'll do my, she says hello. I will do my best to not have to have her only fill in gaps that I miss or answer questions that I don't know. So this resolution before you is the confirmatory resolution. A couple months back, you passed the declaratory resolution. This is a supplement to our economic development plan that was added for the 1300 block. So it goes through a process where you have the declaratory resolution, then it goes to the town council for approval, and then it comes back, which is why you had the public hearing and now the final approval process, and then we'll submit this to get into our official economic development plan. think I got it. So that is what this resolution is for.
Well, anyone have any additional questions? With that, we'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2021-04.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-04 as stated.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All four members voted in favor. The resolution passes 4-0. Moving on to the next item of new business, resolution number 2021-05, a resolution pledging certain tax increment revenues from the Consolidated Redevelopment Area No. 1 allocation area to the payment of the Town of Speedway, Indiana taxable economic development revenue bonds, Series 2021 for the 1300 block.
All right, this resolution is the pledge resolution for the bond portion of the 1300 block project. So we've been going through the bond approval process. The Economic Development Commission met a week ago, followed by the Town Council. Economic Development Commission had a public hearing as well. Then the Town Council approved the bonds. So this is, and Annalise, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is the last step in the bond approval process, correct?
That's right, the final step.
So, so once this is done, is this the final approval process for the project?
Yes, this is the last step that needs to come before the public bodies.
Yep. So from this point forward, we have some ancillary documents that are part of the economic development agreement that we're still working on. And then we obviously have the final design aspects. But as far as public approval processes, this is the very final step in that process.
Very good. Does anyone have any additional questions? No questions. I'll entertain a motion to vote on resolution 2021-05.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we vote to approve resolution number 2021-05 as written.
All in favor, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Oh,
Second.
sorry. I'm sorry.
second that.
I got ahead of myself here. Sorry, Rhonda. I was reading your mind, actually. There. I knew you were going to
Whole
second.
project's derailed, Annalise.
So, hearing a motion and a second, I'd like to move forward with the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All four members voted in favor. The resolution passes 4-0. I'd like to thank Annalise for joining us on the phone this evening. Thank you very much. Appreciate your assistance.
That was nice and easy. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. See you later.
Just perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for getting her on the phone.
Never know. You guys could ask some tricky questions and we'd be stuck here. So.
Exactly right. Next item of new business is the amendment to the engagement contract with Barnes and Thornburg in reference to the 1300 block project.
So at the beginning of this project, we had approved the engagement contract, which is needed for them to represent us through the process. At that time, we didn't anticipate issuing bonds for this project. So as the discussions evolved and the path forward became more clear, we added the bond process, which we've now gone through. This just reflects that change into the original service contract. Those fees come out of the bond proceed closing that's coming up. So those are already built in. Nothing changes to that. This just documents that we authorize Barnes and Thornburg to be our legal representation through this process.
Anyone have any questions in regards to the amendment? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to vote on the amendment to the engagement contract with Barnes and Thornburg.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the amendment to engagement contract with Barnes and Thornburg for the 1300 block.
I'll second.
Having a motion and a second, we'll proceed with the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All four members voted in favor, and the motion passes 4-0. Next item of new business is owner's representation contract for the 1300 block project.
Yeah, so as this project is moving along rather rapidly, actually, we started getting the plans in this week, and one thing we didn't do on this project, Veritas was our owner's rep for this project, but we brought them in kind of late. I want to make sure that we get our owner's rep contract in place, which really effectively acts as our town engineer and make sure everything's being built as described and properly, so we won't have problems later on. So we've had an owner's rep on this project, Founders Square, Will Shaw, as well as 1300 blocks. So they attend all the construction meetings. In this case, we're bringing them in early enough to review the plans with us to make sure we catch things early on. That's in particularly valuable in this project as we have the public plaza space. I want to make sure as that's getting designed alongside that they incorporate correctly and that we don't miss any logistics on that. So that's why this is before you this evening. We received a quote from Veritas Group. They've been fantastic on every other project that we've had. David Rainey would be our project executive, as he has been on this project, Founders Square, and the rest with John Bryant, who is a newer employee to them that works the end half of this project, so I'm familiar with him as a project manager as well, on-site project manager. They're proposing a monthly fee based on the construction schedule that's been proposed, and with that, I would recommend approval of the contract with Veritas Group for owner's representative services for the town on the 1300 block project.
I do have one question. Is the proposal for just the month-to-month services, or is it a lump sum?
They actually can go either way. So it's a lump sum. We could do it two ways. They kind of broke it into their estimated, if you see their schedule there, break it into a monthly estimated number based on how many hours they think they're going to use per that month. Or they can bill it. They can bill us hourly as they use hours up. They've proposed either way, and you can let me know. So they recommend compensation for services rendered to be billed as a fixed fee and invoiced monthly, or if you prefer, billed hourly with a not to exceed. We can go either way.
Does anyone have a preference?
Pay as we go.
Pay as we go? With a not to exceed?
Hourly not to exceed. It's fine.
Works great. That being said, I'd entertain a motion to, does anyone else have any additional questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve to vote on the owner's representation contract for the 1300 block.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the owner representation contract for the 1300 block project.
I'll second.
Hearing a motion and a second, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion passes 4-0. And the final item for new business is change in services authorization for bidding of the 3 parking lots.
Yeah, so this isn't on your agenda. This came up kind of late today, but we're piggyback it. So when we had gone through the 16th Street parking lot process and what we call the Zellman, the 4940 Crawfordsville Road process, we had done public bidding on those 2 lots with American Structure Point, and we only got the 1 bid, and we rejected it because it was high. So that was kind of what was in the scope of that contract. So we went back to them and said, we need to obviously rebid this later on. Well, at the same time, we had another project, 1426 Main, that was coming along. That particular project was with Veritas Engineering, and their scope just had us at just doing construction documents. So we obviously needed to go through the public bidding process on that as well. So we got a number for them, for Structure Point to rebid the 2 parking lots. And then we also got a number for Veritas to do all 3 at the same time. with the note that this is just for the bidding process. The two parking lots, the 16th Street and Crawfordsville Road, construction management and oversight is still part of the American Structure Point process. So the Veritas contract was significantly less to bid out the three parking lots, so I'd recommend going with that. And I think there's value to bidding all three at the same time as well. And again, once we have the bids in, and if we're able to get reasonable prices and accept them to move forward, we'll split those projects back up, and construction oversight will be with Veritas on 1426 and Structure Point on the other two.
Anyone have any additional questions? Pretty straightforward. Hearing no additional questions, entertain a motion to vote on the change in services authorization for bidding of parking lots.
One clarification on that too. So what we're doing is we're amending the Veritas contract to include the bidding portion. If that clarifies that a little bit.
That's the change in services referenced.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yes, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the change in services authorization for the parking, in the bidding of the parking lots.
I'll second.
Hearing a motion and a second, we'll proceed with a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All four members voted in favor. That concludes our new business for the evening. Moving on to item 8. Tim, if you want to roll through the whole thing, I think we spoke about this earlier, and then we'll vote on all the event and lot use requests for the upcoming months.
Yeah, so this is technically new business, but there was so much of it that I just made it a whole separate section. So there's, like I mentioned, there's a lot of people, I think, anxious to get out of their house. There's a lot of great ideas of people that want to be in Speedway and host events. So the town council has been approving a few of these events. Some of the events that they've approved need SRC approval because the parking lots on Main in particular are SRC owned. But also we have, with the Indy 500 going up, we're starting to get vendor requests for lot uses as well. So the quick ones here that we can kind of lump together. So June 24th is the Run 317 race on Main Street. It has been requested that Lions Club be able to utilize 4940 Crawfordsville Road, the Zellman lot, for parking. And they'll also, as needed, there's obviously public parking along Main on our other lots. We don't really need special permission. This one, we just have to open up and make sure that they control. So they're asking for permission. I have no problems with the Lions Club using that lot for a wonderful event on Main. Bike Night, which is a new event that is being organized by a local Speedway resident, is requesting to close 1426 Main Street for their very first bike night from about 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. For a band, and then also close 1068 Main Street for dedicated motorcycle parking. That is on May 19th. That is a Wednesday night. I did check with Marcia and Chris Hill, Barbecue and Bourbon, and Dawson's to make sure anytime we close 1426, I want to make sure they're on board with that because that's their main parking for customers. They were both okay with it. Again, we're going to try it this first time and see if they request anything in the future. And then we have a vendor agreement with Infinium Spirits to utilize the 4904 West 16th Street lot from the evening of May 27th through May 30th. So race weekend, Carb Day, Legends Day, race day. They will be paying the SRC for use of that lot. So we typically with our lots, we can either close it off, we can park it, which becomes a little logistical issue for us, or we can, in this particular case, best case scenario, they're willing to pay us to take the whole lot for that weekend, and we basically barricade it off and let them manage it. So they came to us early. We have some others that are talking to us at this point, but they're kind of waiting to see what IMS is going to actually do on race weekend. So once we get more details, I anticipate additional requests coming back to us. And then just for reference, there's Taco Run on May 18th, a larger Cinco de Mayo event, May 5th. which is a partnership with Arrow McLaren SP, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the town of Speedway. That is going to be a big block party event down Main Street. And then Rockin' on Main, which the town of Speedway is taking over this year. We're still waiting on some details on logistics on that. That is May 28th. There's no action that needs to be taken, but I wanted the SRC to be aware because those are closing off Main Street. That'll restrict access to some of the lots. I just wanted the public to be aware that some of the lots that you're used to may be restricted access at those times. So those are the event requests at this point, and looking for the SRC to give me direction.
Anyone have any questions? I have one comment for you, Tim, is that with the Zellman lot, the 4940 Crawfordsville Road being that June 24th timeframe, I don't know that we'll get through a bid process that quickly and get anybody out there. So fair enough. That was the only thing that came up that might have been a potential conflict. So.
Yeah, now I think, yeah, I'd be shocked, frankly.
Well, just make sure that Veritas is aware of that when they do bid out the project.
Yep. And its potential at that time, if we're still working on the land swap details, they're still doing the due diligence, we might have the 16th Street lot. I doubt we'd have both of them under construction at the exact same time. So we'll keep an eye on that and adjust accordingly.
Very good. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the event and lot use requests.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we approve the event and lot use requests.
I'll second.
Hearing a motion and a second, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the proposed usage for the events and lots, say aye.
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 All four members voted in favor and passes 4-0. Moving on to the final item this evening, old business, Resolution 2021-03, a resolution concerning the acquisition of real property.
So at your last meeting, you passed Resolution 2021-03, which authorized staff to make an offer on the property at 1956 Girard at the average of 2 appraisals per Indiana State Code. That offer was rejected, and the owner counter-offered on the property, which is before you, and we need some direction from the SRC whether they want to accept the counteroffer or reject the counteroffer.
Trying to think through how I want to word that. So I will entertain a motion I'll entertain a motion to decline the counteroffer for Resolution 2021-03.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we reject the counter offer in regards to Resolution 2021-03 concerning the acquisition of real property.
I'll second.
So just to be clear, we are all voting here to decline. That's what I'm asking for a yes vote for, to decline the counteroffer. So all in favor of declining the counteroffer, say aye.
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 Aye. All four members voted in favor of declining the counter, and we will not proceed with the acquisition of that real property. Not under these terms at this time, anyway.
Okay, I will talk to the owner and let them know. And if anything changes, I will also inform the SRC of that.
Appreciate that. Does anyone else have any additional items, events, or things that they'd like to mention? All good?
Well, the 317 run that the Lions Club is working on, there'll be a social media link going out. They're looking for volunteers. So if anyone wants to sign up to help work that event that night, there'll be a link coming out on the Lions Club website, and I'm sure many other social media outlets.
Perfect. Hearing no additional comments, we'll adjourn the meeting with consent.